Welcome to Game Woven, the collaborative storytelling collective building a world one game at a time. This week we will be playing Adversary, written by Benjamin Drury and Zadkiel Vasky Huff. If you like what we're doing here, you can follow us on Twitter at GameWoven, or you can join our Discord. And you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/GameWoven. Welcome back to Game Woven. I'm Brianna Jean, she, her. You can find me at Brianna Jeans on Twitter, and I will be facilitating our game of Adversary by Ben and Zad. So Adversary is about the final confrontation. A long journey full of triumph and despair has led you and your allies to this moment. Whether you are victorious or fail, the world will forever change. Adversary is a game about a group of heroes at the climax of their story, drawing on their experiences to defeat the bad guy and create a better world. Today I am joined by...
Hi, my name is Zadkiel Vasky Huff, and my pronouns are they, them.
Howdy, hey, it's me, call me they, aka Was With a Gun, aka Lex Holden, and my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Rob, also known as Rob B. Rolling, which you can follow if you like to watch people lurk. My pronouns are he, him.
And I'm TT Benjamin, pronouns he, him.
So why don't the writers of the game explain the rules?
Adversary is based on card-driven narrative games like For the Queen or The Quiet Year. In this case, we are playing out the final battle of a large grand campaign. But we've added a little mechanical twist to it in order for it to feel like a real battle. The heroes will take actions to try to defeat the adversary. Damage is represented by the adversary discarding cards from the adversary deck. On each one of the cards are effects that take place when the card is drawn, and also a narrative flashback that tells the story of the campaign leading up to this confrontation. So these four people have been traveling together for about 2 years chasing the Mirage. We will find out what happened along that journey in flashback as we play through the game and try to defeat the Mirage. We can lose this game. We also have access to an ultimate ability, which we can use once. One of us can use it once in the game, and the Mirage, our adversary, has a single face card in her adversary deck that does something devastating, and that's put about halfway through the deck. So the way it'll start is someone will use their first ability, usually some kind of an attack or a buff or whatever. The adversary will draw a card, the effects will take place, and then we read the flashback.
So tonight we are playing Adversary because Queen of Light's last stand ended up with Irene getting kidnapped. We've established that this is a fantasy setting, but where do you all think this final confrontation is happening?
We haven't been in a desert yet, have we?
Ooh.
We have not been in the desert.
Ooh, okay. Abandoned old-ass castle in the middle of a desert. Far to, like, the northwest.
Shit, how far did we go?
You know,
we established that we've been traveling for like 2 years, right?
Oh shit, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
it doesn't mean we just went straight the whole time.
Yeah, this was like a whole build up to actually this final encounter. So I guess it does make sense that we are fairly far away from Ernest and Shamir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, a desert is a place that basically all of these characters would not be suited for.
True, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, an abandoned castle
On
in the
the moon.
desert with a big central tower may be.
Yeah, fucking
Okay.
tower. Oh yeah.
Okay, but we are coming back to our world being a moon. We're coming back to that, right?
Yeah.
Or something
Yeah, we
else.
should come
We're
back
putting
to
a pin
that.
in
Yeah,
that.
actually, I kind of like it.
That's cool, and that's not going away. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
One
in
of
there
these
now.
days we will zoom out far enough to know if we are a moon.
Hey, so that's my new hyperfixation. Headcanon, we're a moon.
Yeah, we're a moon.
Patrons, tell us what you think. Is the Game Woven world a moon?
Abandoned castle in the middle of the desert with a tall tower in the center. Wonder, is the final showdown happening at the top of the tower? Or maybe like at the
Oh,
base
yeah.
of the tower and you have to beat the adversary to go up
We'll
to
make
get
our
it.
way up as
Or
we go.
at the bottom of the tower, clearly.
And we're like fighting
Could
up
we-
the tower.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Is throne room off the table at this point?
I love a throne room.
Here it is. We start at the top of the tower, going down into the throne room.
Door to
Huh.
tower, it can only be accessed through the throne room. So you have to go through the throne room to get to the tower. Because Irene's a queen. Why not have her locked up in a tower?
Your princess is in another castle. Yeah, we did that a couple times on the way here.
Literally, though, it's been a long road.
There's a lot of ruined castles, okay?
I like starting in the throne room and then fighting up the tower.
Okay, so we have established the setting. It only took 20
Yes.
minutes of tangents.
And you guys didn't hear a single one unless you paid for Patreon.
Oh, Jesus.
Next is we establish the adversary.
Yeah. Stinky bitch McGee.
So the adversary is the mysterious woman from far up north, north of the Undying Empire, ? Who you believe is behind the kidnapping of Irene after you realized it was not in fact Blythe who kidnapped Irene.
Or invited us to go and see Blythe, either.
Yeah.
Whole thing was a trap.
Yeah.
It was all a trap and we all waltzed right into it. And she just grabbed Irene when no one was looking. You know she is powerful, you know she is elusive, and she might have been waiting for you in this castle for a while, waiting to see if you would ever find the freaking castle.
Did we get a name for her, or a name that we've been...
Yeah, do we have a name or anything?
What name or title have we been chasing?
Yeah.
Carlos.
We know that she's looked about 20 for about 20 years or so.
Yeah, so she's
Ah.
ageless. We're pretty sure she has, like, illusion magics. Curly black hair?
Curly black hair. The two things we've heard her described in was a dress that was much too form-fitting to be acceptable in that kind of society when she was at the party being held by Irene's parents, and she's been seen walking around wearing pants.
She's hot and wears pants. Damn it!
Mhm.
It's too powerful.
I
Scandal.
absolutely have been picturing her in like a fantasy equivalent of a pantsuit.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Pretty good. Everyone's hot in a suit.
True.
True.
This is,
True.
yeah,
Heard it here.
that's why that's the only thing men ever wear, ever.
Yep.
True.
We got
Yeah.
in one.
I'm wearing a suit right now. Shh, they can't see me.
They would never know.
That's all we know about her.
Seemingly ageless, possibly an illusionist.
And at least can employ constructs.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, and her accent placed her as either being from or having spent a lot of time in a place far north of the Undying Empire.
Which may or may not be the desert place we're in.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
Eventually. I think Adversary doesn't really deal with geography very much, so yeah, probably where the desert is somewhere like northwest-ish of the Undying Empire.
We're back where, at the very least, she spent the most time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe not her
Yeah.
home, maybe just where she's chosen to be.
Bree, did we get a title, a name, anything about this person?
Nope. All we
Wow.
know is she's powerful and she can.
How the fuck did we find her?
It took us 2 years. We found
We'll
her.
find out.
It means she let us find her, if that's what's happening.
Okay, we traveled 2 years across an entire continent. I get that it took a long time, and a lot of that time was walking. But, like, how did we know we were even going in the right direction?
I feel like it's one of those things of like every person who had maybe seen her used a different name and that was very clearly a pseudonym to the point that it wasn't useful, right? Like we got the physical description and that's all we could really go off of because the name was so clearly a red herring. Does that feel like it fits the vibe?
I mean, and it could have been that there was kind of an elongated cat and mouse game throughout the entire 2 years because, of course, Adversary has to do with the kind of things that we've dealt with leading up to this. So
So we can find that out.
Yeah, that might be discovered through the prompt.
So if she's an illusionist and we're in the desert, my brain just went Mirage.
We've been just calling her Mirage. That's our name for her.
Yeah, we don't know.
Or the Mirage.
Or the Mirage, yeah.
Yeah, the Mirage. Perfect.
The Mirage.
The Mirage.
Because of all the times that we were like, I kicked the door in and no one was there.
Yep.
And just be like,
No, worse than no one, she definitely would just leave like a little like note being like, haha, you suck.
Got the setting. We have the adversary.
we have a villain in a rogues gallery.
Now it's the heroes. So I, TT Benjamin, will be playing Leon Kuprick, the Thunder Vein, the attendant, the sword attendant to Queen Irene, and her mentor and grandfather figure.
I think the term we decided on for that one ended up being Blade Warden.
Blade Warden, that's right. Blade Warden.
Yeah, and then I am also going to be reprising my role from the previous Queen of Light game. I will be playing Henbit Lambium, both he and she pronouns. He was brought into court by Irene as an entertainer, became sort of a close friend and confidant, as well as somebody who just kind of sat around and did a lot of set dressing, and then got taken out on the road with Leon and Irene and been on that road ever since.
Also, it isn't until we got on that road that we found out you were a Verdreen.
Ah, yes, also that. Also, I got vines. I got them vines.
Them vines.
She got the vines.
Got them vines.
Hi, I'm playing Queen Blythe, the warrior queen of Ernett.
Woo! Mm.
I got a bow and I got some arrows. I'm gonna shoot you.
Especially if you're just like an innocent woman who got lost in the woods.
Yeah, especially if you're an innocent woman. You better duck.
Hey!
Hey, Doc.
You
Love
said
those
duck.
ducks.
That
Love
wasn't even
them
planned. Fuck. That wasn't even planned.
And I have no one to reprise from our For the Queen game as my character died. So I will be playing Captain Halliwell with my wonderful companion Lucky the Squirrel on my shoulder.
What's Halliwell's deal? Tell me a little about him.
So very much classic, almost pirate ship captain vibe of very like flowing attire, like bandana around the head, like a rapier and a dueling dagger. Very much the party rogue kind of vibe is what I'm imagining.
Were you from whatever countries, or did we like meet you along the way?
So we actually get to establish things in flashbacks, but I think generally,
right.
Just a dude we picked up.
yeah, I think it was one of those things of you all were trying to find the allies you could, and I was one of those, like, a connection of a connection brought me up, and I was like, I think we can make that work.
I'm gonna be real. Leon fucking hates you.
Yeah.
That's great.
My first thought was that sounds vaguely piratey description. And my second thought was, have you ever gone by Handsome Jack?
Handsome Jack.
Yeah, who's that? The famous pirate?
Give me that name again, Rob.
Captain Halliwell uses he, they.
Oh, well.
Man, the cast of our universe is so queer so far. I love that for us.
It's like representation's fucking easy if you just do it.
Since we know our heroes, we know where they're going, and we know who they're going up against, is it time to describe the epic walk-up? for this final battle.
So I'll take first grab on the walk up, and it is Leon who strides forward in the shadow of the giant castle, which I think we are downshade of it, so it is casting its shadow over us. And he walks up into like a hole in the light where like a little bit is shining through one of the walls, and he turns around holding up a gleaming shield, and he has his sword out, and he says, "Well, all right, this is the end of the road. The mirage is in there, and so is our queen. Except you." Looks over at Halliwell?
Halliwell.
Halliwell.
Have you never watched Charmed?
No.
What?
Except you. He looks over at Halliwell, sellsword. But I expect all of us to do our duty. Remember, it is us or her. And if the last person standing is our queen, then I would have it so. Who's with me?
I think, partially to establish that Blythe has many fun little funny arrows, because most of my abilities are going to be weird arrows. Blythe is just going to shoot some kind of magic arrow at the door and knock it in. Puts her bow away and just says, like, "You talk too much," and just starts heading in.
And Captain Hell will just pat Leon on the back and say, "Your speech will work one of these days, Blundervein. Let's get in there."
Blundervein, let's go.
Rude.
You hear Irene cackling in the distance, just giggling.
There, see, she's in there. I told you.
I think you like Henbit literally just like laughs and comes by and pats you on the shoulder with one hand, and then two vines that kind of come out and pat you on the shoulder. Blunderveins it's going to get old one of these days. I'm very sorry that that's not today. And then I think they actually they use the vines and they start climbing up the wall and in through a window.
I swear, none of you can take a holy errand seriously. And he strides inside, looking dejected.
So, as you all enter the throne room, you see this mirage, except for it is a mirage. Finally, the actual person, not just the glimpses that you've been chasing for 2 years now. Sitting there in her pantsuit, like very finely dressed, finely tailored, sitting sideways in her throne with her legs draped over the side, looking very bored, and she looks over, she sees you all enter. I was wondering if you were ever going to show up. You're certainly rather slow, aren't you?
Okay, so I want to be her. Hold on. Hold on.
I feel like Leon elbows Queen Blythe and then just
No, that was Lex.
Oh, that was Lex. Okay.
That was fully Lex.
I feel like Leon reaches through the fourth wall and elbows Lex.
Well, your little illusions are just so compelling, we couldn't pass it up.
You will return the queen to us,
Right, that too.
and you can survive.
No, you die.
You will return the queen to us, and we'll make your death swift.
No.
You can return the queen to us.
Blythe just knocks an arrow and lines up a shot.
On here, I thought you were going to be entertaining. She says, looking at Leon, is... Your friend said you do talk a lot. Talk is only ever going to get you so far.
It's gotten me this far. Witch.
Yes, but it's lost you your queen.
No, she's up. She's in the tower. I heard her laugh.
What are you going to do about it? He's still lounging.
Leon looks at his sword. Well, geez, I don't know. Go ahead, Sad. Sorry.
At this, can we just go ahead and start playing the game?
Yeah, y'all can... I was fully expecting at some point someone was just going to start attacking her while she's antagonizing Liam for talking too much.
The way it works is you just, whoever decides they go first, goes first, and then we just start going.
Keep going.
Oh, I think Blythe would just loose an arrow.
Can I get a quick early thing that happens first?
Okay.
Is as that exchange is rattling on, you've got your shot lined up and everybody hears a quack. There's like a and coming just like feet flopping out of the shadows from one side of the room is Quacks the tourist. Quacks the tourist has entered the field.
What?
Yeah, the duck that we're all familiar with.
We're all familiar with Quacks the tourist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Been with us for 2 years.
Yeah. So I am taking my turn to activate my ally Quacks the tourist.
I will say this does draw the Mirage's attention. Okay, no, this is interesting. That's adorable. I might have to keep this one once you're all dead.
Quacks says,
The adversary will draw a card in response, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so I thought you were about to say Quacks speaks. And I was
No.
like, I'm gonna veto that one. I don't want talking ducks.
Also, your duck has a card associated with it, right?
yeah. Quacks is an ally, so that is a diamond.
Well, 3 of clubs, so no match there.
So we drew a club.
Is despair. The active hero loses a knowledge.
Oh no, they're dumb.
Okay. Having duly activated Quacks the tourist, I am going to suffer the results of getting rid of the Shears of Disruption. Very effective in a previous episode, but alas, we shall be setting it aside for now.
What does Quacks do?
What does Quacks do? So Quacks the tourist, persistent, once active, every time an ability is lost, sacrificed, or banished, place a counter on this ally. Remove all counters at the beginning of your turn, and then I can banish Quacks to deal, as a reaction, to deal damage equal to the number of counters placed. So Quacks goes up.
Oh,
by
so you've
1.
actually already got one counter on there.
I've already got one counter on there.
Everyone make sure to use as many of your sacrifice abilities as possible so that we can rack the counters up to deal more damage.
I just realized the name of the card that you picked to get Quacks is called the Archmage?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, the filler name is the Archmage.
Not in this game,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, Quacks the duck. The Archmage. Yeah? Quacks.
What about this is confusing you? I don't understand.
You know what? You're right. I'm just stupid.
Is it time for a flashback?
Absolutely.
Much was sacrificed to gain one of your knowledge abilities. What did you give up despite it being so precious to you?
Oh, man. Okay, so got 2. Got the Shears of Disruption, which I already had, and the other one is For All Seasons. So the way that knowledge works is it is a more powerful and a more continuously effective skill as long as everybody can use different suits. So as long as people are able to contribute in their own unique ways.
What if you had to cut some ties with other Verdreen, right? Like burn that bridge?
Something that I had considered naming this one was the tangled roots make the forest a single organism. And I think in order to produce the harmony that was necessary to draw from allies that were not of my people, that was one of the things that I had to let go of. I think Henbit only has 3 shoulder vines now, and one shoulder vine was grafted directly from her father, but the one that she cut was somebody that had been a lover of his. They both together grafted vines onto themselves before he left Shamir to travel north with the rest of the Verdreen. And they had those vines that would always connect them to each other, even though they were probably never going to see each other again. And I think, like, they didn't say that. They didn't ever actually recognize we're never going to see each other again. But Henbit stayed behind to face whatever it was that was there, and his lover left. And then this adventure came along, and he realized that a direct, specific connection to something that was never going to grow needed to be pruned. And so that's what he did. And I think the pieces of that vine, he broke it down and found ways to fashion ornaments for everybody within the group in order to connect us all together, so that something that was never going to grow, was never going to bear fruit, could feed something that was.
Leon, well, I had a combo that I was going to do, but right now this is more powerful.
If you want to do setup, I can just keep, like, ditching. Well, I guess we'll
the
do.
duck will just stick around.
No. Let's just do it. Because we never know if a betrayal pops up, we might lose the duck.
The duck can betray us. No.
Leon steps up, stands next to Quacks the tourist. He pounds his shield twice with the hilt of his blade and shouts, "Take her now! Don't give her room to breathe! For the queen!" And uses his ability, his knowledge ability, it's a knowledge, uses his knowledge ability for the queen. It is a sacrifice. All sources of damage until my next turn are increased by 1. So we're going aggro.
All right.
I'll say at this point, the Mirage is finally in a upright seated position, no longer has her legs dangled, but she still looks rather worried.
And that is also a sacrifice, so you can add another counter on there.
Ooh. All right.
A spade! Oh, fuck! Oh!
Ooh.
Wait, what does a spade do?
It's a match.
Ah, man. You know what? I'm going to reaction on my own turn.
Okay.
I am going to activate the Crest of the Queen, which is a boon. Reaction sacrifice, prevent the negative effects of a match. So that's another sacrifice for you, Zad, and it will prevent the match.
Okay.
So I kind of picture there's this wave of magic that was heading towards Leon.
I think he holds his shield up against it, and there's the crest of the queen on top of it, and it starts to glow, and then it just like shatters off of the shield, but it prevents the wave of magic that's attacking him. But I do still suffer despair.
So to clarify for the viewers who have never played this game, what just happened was we use cards from a playing card deck, and if the adversary's card, Bree in this case, is the same suit as a hero's card, bad things happen.
Yep.
Yes.
And Leon said, I don't want that to happen.
Sacrificed another ability.
I'm about to get wrecked here, though. So that is still a despair, so I do still suffer from despair.
You do still lose a knowledge.
So I only have one other knowledge, which is my ability Legacy of Thunder. So that is lost.
Oh no, he's stupid.
Sad. That's another lost ability for your for the duck.
Sure fucking is.
If this duck is the reason we win, I'm gonna shit bricks.
I am feeding this duck all of my life force. In one turn, of my 5 abilities that I started with, I have lost 3.
Which, by the way, viewers, that's bad.
Yeah,
We don't
That's
want
real
that.
bad.
Yeah. Well, Leon, if it makes you feel better, do you want to know what your prompt is?
Yes, I do.
You know a secret that even the adversary has been hiding from themselves. It's time to tell them what you know.
Yes.
I'm your dad.
So Leon steps forward and he just takes his shield and like casts it off of his arm while it's still like smoldering, and it like clatters like. And he points his sword at the Mirage, and he says, "Imadu, I know why you are trying to punish our family. I know why you invade the noble courts. I know why you were rejected from the Undying Empire. Do you even know?"
How dare you speak my name?
I know your name. I know your ilk. I just had to see you for myself. You were once one of us. And you have been cast out from court to court to court for generations. Go on. Tell us why.
I owe you nothing.
You owe me everything, Harpy. You could have stayed, but you didn't. Because you just have to take and take. Why?
Because if I did not take, the others will squander. Don't understand the power that they have. Would waste so much.
We can help you, or you can die.
I find it adorable that you think you can accomplish either.
Ooh, that's hard. That's hard.
She just smiles. Smile seems to get a little too big, a little draconic, maybe, potentially. Definitely not entirely human.
So, this is gonna be weird because I like making Blythe the worst. And during Zad's flashback, I had a thought and it just rolled and snowballed into what I'm about to say now.
Lovely.
So, I'm gonna use Loyal Pet, but it's not an animal. At the end of Leon's conversation, Blythe just rolls her eyes at all this, like, I don't care about whatever your story is. I just need you out of the way. And she's just gonna do like a sharp whistle, and you all hear like a banging from out, like up through the walls outside. Like, by the way, have you met my new friend? And a man who is wearing the skin of a manticore come bashing through the wall, and in his chest there is a single arrow through his heart. You all vaguely recognize him from the journey, but I'm gonna leave why you know him until I get a flashback or something. But he is quote unquote my loyal pet.
I would say Rip Constantine, but that would be not what's happened, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
What does the ability do?
Deal 1 damage after the reveal on my turn. Persistent.
Oh, great.
So it's got to fire first, but...
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the Raj's response is, "You treat me like a villain when you travel with someone who keeps a person like that. You think I'm horrible. Let's look in the mirror." What was the suit for that ability?
Diamond.
Oh, not a match. I swear I did shuffle these. But it's another despair.
What does that one do? Knowledge?
Active hero loses in knowledge.
Hey, guess what? I'm stupid already.
Hey,
I don't have
we
any
got
knowledge.
a fizzle.
Fizzle for despair is a hero must lose an ability. So somebody has to lose one.
Hey, let's kill Ben.
I actually have something that is actually actively pretty good for me to lose and will help the duck, so I'm happy to take that.
Oh, the duck.
I have a boon. Once activated, your abilities deal 1 extra damage. If this boon is lost before it can be activated, deal 2 damage.
Sick.
Which means you're about to deal 3 damage?
Yes, I believe so.
Plus, someone is buffing damage.
Ben's giving us all +1 for this turn. What's that ability look like, Rob?
I called it retort, and it was going to be a different kind of retort depending on whatever the situation was. So the last line was like, "Why don't you look in the mirror?"
You just brought a zombie into my house and you think I'm bad?
Oh, no. This man's fully alive.
That's worse. You
I
see
know.
how this is worse. Yes.
In response to, "You should look in the mirror," Captain Halliwell is just like way ahead of you and just chucks a dagger at the Mirage.
I've already removed the 3 cards for the damage and double checked that they weren't the face cards. But your prompt, you have been clinging to a fond memory that drives you forward. Now, at the end, what is it?
Oh, it's the memory of General Constantine when he hunted and slayed the Manticore for me and skinned it and made it into a cloak. At the time, I thought that was kind of sweet, maybe, but like I didn't need it. But it came in handy when we met a man who had the ability to take on the abilities of what if we gave him parts of a slain creature to wear, he'd pick up those abilities. He didn't seem particularly interested in helping us, so I convinced him with a magic arrow to the heart. And you know, he is ultimately a gift from Constantine, I think, and that's really special to me. When she calls me a villain, Blythe just looks and goes, "Well, yes. You think I'm here to admonish you? This is a masterclass."
Oh.
And what reason do you have to wish harm against me? We'd be friends after all.
You're in the way.
And then does the guy in the Manticore cloak just like run up and how does he attack?
Blythe just gives like a whistle, which is the command signal, and he's
Deals 2 damage.
Like, I like the idea that this guy's not even armed. She just makes him like run at people.
yeah, like I said. So he takes some abilities of things that he wears, and I gave him a Manticore cloak.
Perfect.
So he's Manticore abilities,
Yeah.
whatever those are.
I think it's like claws and they've got like a scorpion tail that can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a stinger tail.
Yeah, and then deals
Yeah.
that extra 1 damage because of Ben's call to arms.
Yes.
Dealio.
So
Yeah.
we just actually dealt a lot of damage, I think. Total, we're dealing 5, I think.
And Quacks the Tourist is up to 5. So, Rob, if we can get rid of at least, like, if we can get rid of a few more cards.
We might be able to one-shot this.
In a really great combination of narrative and mechanics, I don't have anything that synergizes with you, Zad.
Oh, fine. Okay.
I really am the outsider of this group, the newcomer.
Well, you can always, like, fail and maybe we'll lose a couple of abilities that way, and that can stack.
I'm great at getting matched in this game, so just give it a second.
Imadil's looking a little more concerned now that she is attempting to fend off this large, unfortunate man and is probably attempting to basically find his off button, because this is a bit much. And had a knife thrown at her.
Yeah, has had a knife thrown at her, has a very large man in a Manticore suit taking swings, and just like running around the entire central dais is Quacks the Tourist going.
Which, by the way, I'm just imagining that really dramatic shot of Blythe, and just there's a duck in the background.
Also, she just got true named.
That's true.
Yep.
That's always unsettling.
She's
Yeah.
having a day.
Question though, is that a name she still goes by though?
Oh,
Up to her.
is Leon a bastard who just dead named her villain? Asshole.
We'll see.
I will say my turns can be not very exciting because it's a bit of a setup as I use Lying in Wait, which is a club, a skill, which will just deal 2 damage, but at the end of my next turn. So we see Captain Halliwell. There's the, not only is it a match, it's the face card. I told you all, this is what I'm good at.
Face cards don't match.
Oh, they don't?
Face cards don't match. So a face card doesn't count in the typical reveal order. What you do is you show the face card, resolve the face card, and then you draw the actual reveal.
Oh, great.
So the face card's going to happen, and then another card's going to get drawn. What's the face card, though?
It's the face
Yeah.
card.
So it was Queen. What shall I take from you?
Oh.
Every hero banishes an ability. I'm growing bored with this, and she throws her hand down. This wave of energy passes as we all lose an ability.
Oh, this is going to add so many counters to Quack.
Yeah, I'm up to 9.
Plus my bonus.
In like the very front pocket of Captain Halliwell's coat is a magical pocket watch.
Okay, I thought you were about to kill the fucking squirrel.
No, not lucky.
I was about to be so mad.
No way. I'll let y'all die before lucky. Yeah, but there's just this moment where the pocket watch shatters in their jacket pocket.
So I had one other ally card called the Shield Bearer. We just have like one of my soldiers. I had some with us, but they didn't make it. He's the last one in like a group of like 8 guys I had come with us. I just grab him and hold him in front of me.
Like, he doesn't even move to protect you. You move him to protect you.
And he's
Great.
like, well, you know how it is.
Get the living.
The living.
Actually, I would like Zad to go first because I'm about to get real tragic up in here.
What did I make for you from the piece of vine that I gave you?
I think you made me a bracer to replace one that got ripped off during a battle. So I have like one like metal bracer and then one bracer made of wrapped vine.
Okay. They drop down from the ceiling in front of Leon. And the bracer itself is mostly made of wood. And the piece of vine is inlaid. And Henbit has a matching one. And so as this tack goes off, Henbit absorbs it with the bracer, and then sort of in that space that's created, throws the shears forward, and that's what deals the damage as you feel the negative energy just gets absorbed by the bracer, and you feel refreshed in a certain way as you feed one another in turn.
And I think the bracer on Leon's arm begins to sort of come vaguely alive, sort of like Ashitaka's like weird shadow arm thing. Like the vines are like tendriling off of it a little bit.
I have no idea what the fuck you just said to me.
Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke.
Oh, that I haven't seen that in like 8 bajillion years. Gotcha. Okay.
3 damage.
Is she dead yet?
No.
She's going to die imminently because I'm about to do some bullshit.
Yeah.
So Leon, no shield, just holds his sword in front of him and it disintegrates completely. And you see for a moment there's like a whitish yellowish crackle of lightning that goes through his veins and then actually fades away as I feel bad that I don't get to reveal this, but Leon actually had a couple of really cool abilities, one of which was the rolling. So he had the Legacy of Thunder and Rolling Thunder ability, which were 2 like Thunder Vein themed abilities, and he can't do it. He can't do them. So he loses his Rolling Thunder skill, leaving him with only 1 skill, which he activates right now. Because it's a reaction.
Oh.
No.
So Leon grabs sort of his last trinket hanging around his neck. It was a gift that was given to him by a cursed child that he and Henbit were able to heal. Shit. It's the Amulet of the Falcon. He grabs it, and with sort of like the tendrily veins coming off of his arm, and he looks at Immadil and says, I was the second person to hold Queen Irene when she was born, and I will see her again. And then he crushes it in his hands, and lightning strikes through a hole in the ceiling, and he becomes like this like storm crow form.
You just turn into a phoenix, essentially.
A Garuda, thank you.
Yeah, like a lightning bird. He turns into like a lightning bird and just flies directly through her. For the next turn, all card effects fizzle instead.
Okay.
Fizzling on the card effects is a slightly increased negative thing, but it deals 1 damage. Which means that the card that's about to get drawn is actually going to deal 2 damage total. And it's going to fizzle instead of just do a regular card effect.
So this is me having played TTRPGs, asking about a wording on the rules. When you say next turn, does that mean it doesn't affect this turn?
Whatever happens, it happens.
Gotcha.
So I picture before all these attacks go off. Mozilla says, accuse me of taking? Fine, I'll take everything. Then she just goes, oh, fuck.
Get fucked.
And then I still have to have a card drawn on me, right?
And then you still have to have a card get drawn on him.
Leon is still in the fight. He's just at
Leon
1.
is still technically in the fight because he has that ability that Zad gave him.
Incredible.
Also, that was a sacrifice, Zad, so you can add another counter to.
Oh, I'm up to 10.
This wasn't a match for Rob, so congratulations.
Hey!
9 of diamonds, which is betrayal. What is the effect of this? What is the fizzle effect of betrayal?
We don't lose an ally, which is nice.
I recover 1, so thanks.
Oh, the adversary recovers 1.
And then takes 2,
Also-
right?
Yeah. I'll get that in just a second, but for the prompt, you stopped along the way to help a stranger, only to find out they were important. Who were they? What did you do? And how did they help you?
So I think the vibe has been pretty well, like it's pretty clear about the things that Captain Halliwell values in terms of fully is an unapologetic sellsword and has mocked Leon the entire trip. Not mocked Blythe because it's very clear Blythe scares them, but has like poked them as much as possible. But has been very, very has gone way out of their way to like help those in need or hand a couple silver over to people along the road. And I like to imagine at one point the trail had gone really cold. Like we had just turned over one of the Mirage's lairs, and normally there was something for us to go on, but this time she just left us nothing. And I feel like this was like halfway through the adventure, we were all like, we were at that point, we were at like the season finale, like we were all on each other's throats, like we're not getting along, things were looking bad, we were like in the Undying Empire because we were in the middle of our search, and just seemingly apropos of nothing, Captain Halliwell spends like a couple days helping this one family they came across on their travels, and through that the like eldest kind of like grand matron of the family told a story about this old fortress that the Undying Empire built. Well, and according to the stories, the Emperor has always been alive, but at the beginning of when the Emperor was alive. And that while that fortress has been left to the sands of time, is what she said, that it still holds a very important place to those who know the Empire and have known it since it started. And it was only until later that we put those pieces together that led us here.
What did the rest of y'all think that your character was doing while the captain was just like working on a farm?
I think for Blythe, that is when she discovered a peculiar ability of hers. She happened to cut herself while making an arrow, and then went hunting and shot a deer. For some reason, though the arrow entered the deer's heart, the deer did not die. It just followed her loyally.
Oh, actual fuck. I mean, I love it, but what the fuck?
Yeah, so I really, Blythe just has like so many things surrounded by just being a manipulative, controlling, awful person.
Yeah, and the queen's blood makes charm arrows.
Yeah,
Great.
I think that's what my brain came up with.
That's such a perfectly hyper-specific boon for this setting. It's just like,
Yeah.
if this queen's blood touches your heart, it's really bad. It's like, when's that ever gonna come up?
Often she enjoys shooting people.
Yeah, so I think that she figured that out and started experimenting with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the bracer gift you gave her with the vines, he went, this is like neat, I guess, but I'm gonna fuck with it. And she like, the vines have like thorns on it.
No, I don't think his do.
Okay, cool. So she made it have thorns.
Like stuck an arrowhead into the bracelet.
No, she fed her blood to the vine and it started like growing and like growing thorns, and she turned it into her bowstring.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, like, if you want something custom, Henbit does custom work. So
Oh no, she was gonna do this on her own, experimenting with the blood thing.
gotcha.
You're gonna find her one day like, what the fuck is that?
Well, like, I mean, Henbit would have come and tried to make something, and I think like imagine if Henbit had been like, here, I've made this bowstring. The string will never break,
Oh, gotcha.
and it'll keep us together. And then it's like normal bow. Come back 2 days later, and now it's like thorny, and
Mhm.
I like
it's
that.
like Blythe's Blythed it up. Yeah,
Yeah, I think her arrows are thorns from the vine growing into arrows before she fires them.
Oh,
Incredible.
jeez. Excellent, wonderful.
So that's what she did while you were on a farm.
Yeah, Henbit let Captain Halliwell cook for a day, and then got fucking sick of hanging out with Blythe and Leon, and then went to go help on the farm. So he was doing something kind of dull by comparison. But what was Leon doing?
I think Leon sent a letter back to his family back home and some of the people back in the courts. I think he spent a long time writing this as well. It was detailed. He kind of sequestered himself privately as he did it. Wasn't really interested in letting people see it. Very private thoughts going into this letter, but more or less the contents of it was his suspicions about what he was fighting and a warning to a very trusted member of the court of Chaumer about the coming threat and the possibility of potentially needing to take charge of 2 kingdoms without monarchs. In the moments when he could have been sentimental to these people, what he really was professional down to a T. Like, this is what you need to do if we don't come back. If we're not back in 3 months, here's a step-by-step instruction. Like, here's how you need to run the courts. Here's how you need to get control of things. Here's what's about to happen to these kingdoms. You need to get a handle on it, or you need to roll over with your belly up and surrender, or so many people are going to die. Just practical, ultimately to a fault. In terms of what he sent to his family, it was basically a very matter-of-fact last will and testament that his holdings would go to his brother-in-law, and that's about it. And that his body be interred in the court mausoleum, if it so please the court, so that he can continue watching over the royal family in death.
And then you turned into a big old Thunderbird.
And now he's a Thunderbird.
Caw-caw!
Fuck yeah. So, to get back,
So as my turn ends,
yeah, to set the scene, the place that we've left it is in the show version of this. That's where you've got the commercial break cut and it fades back in, and Queen Blythe sort of drops the smoking corpse of Greg, her last retinue member.
He doesn't know his name.
I know his name. His name was Greg. Henbit, chilled with your dudes. Get on my level. What sort of weapon are you readying, Rob? Is Captain Halliwell or Halliwell ready?
Halliwell, a rapier and a dueling dagger. Very like kind of classic swashbuckler.
Mm-hmm. And like just slowly creeping off to one side to
getting ready to ambush. Yeah.
The rising form of Leon as the lightning falcon has left this trail of sparks that has passed through Imadiel and just like has shot up into the sky and is wheeling and screaming back down for a final strike. And Henbit is haloed in static electricity and sparks, his bracer glowing in concert with well, it's just all electricity now. I think the entire spine filament, the entire spine fragment is sparking off of his wrist, and Imadiel is kind of wounded and panting, but still looks absolutely ferocious. Her hair is a mess. The pantsuit that she's wearing is artfully and we'll say attractively tattered.
Just the right amount of charring on the edges. Around her crackling with energy. She's ready to go. She looks like she's having fun.
Yeah. She throws up kind of that cocky smile and is looking at us as we are weary and have chased her so far, and is about to open her mouth to say something when there's a quack. Just and she looks down.
Is the duck standing between her feet?
Yeah, the duck is standing directly in front of her between her feet. And she just she looks at it again and is like,
"What are you doing there, little one?"
And the duck quacks again. And then opens its mouth. And I think what we see is from the back, there's just an explosion of light that consumes the entire back of the frame. And we just have the silhouette of Imadiel and this duck as the form of Imadiel falls away. Like, it disintegrates. And then does 11 damage, clears out the rest of the deck.
Yeah, and her last words are, "Not bad. Not bad at all." As she just gets disintegrated.
Mm-hmm.
By a duck, I guess.
By a duck.
And I will say, mechanically, like, if the duck hadn't been there, we probably might lose. Because just putting that out there.
Yeah, no, if it hadn't been for the duck charging up for its massive explosion.
Yeah.
Flashback to 2 hours ago, me saying, if this duck is the reason we win.
We just want to sort of go around the circle with prompts as we make our way up, or do we want to have a brief scene before we start heading up the tower?
Yeah, like one last thing, I think Quax turns back around, and Quax is a tourist. After the light fades, Quax and all of us are standing there kind of confused. Quax turns around, looks at us, goes, and then just flies away. And that's it for Quax.
Could he always do?
Could he? Is that?
Shut up, you're a bird.
Is Leo just a talking bird now? A talking lightning falcon?
I wonder if Leon has to. No, Leon doesn't have to be a bird.
technically, with that item, you can turn back.
He broke it, remember?
Crushed it in my hands, technically.
I'll just turn to Henbit, say, another appreciator of foul play, and give a wink.
Leon, in Thunderbird form, gets up behind Halliwell, smacks him on the back of his head with a wing, and then converts back into Leon in like tattered clothes and like barely functional armor, still kind of staticking, and then just like falls to his knees. That was a shit joke.
So I think Blythe, because I had the realization, Emadiel did the giant energy wave thing, and the Berserker dude was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Just somewhere. Blythe's gonna walk up to him. I think he's like alive, but like in incredible pain, and just gonna walk up to him. I think the Manticore cloak is like done, and you all just see her say, "You did well," and pull the arrow out of his heart. And I think he comes back to his senses and is free for about 2 seconds before she just shoots him in the head.
Jesus.
And as a complete contrast, Halliwell will hold out a hand to let Leon up and say, "You did pretty good, but Thunder Pain."
I don't even get that one.
Thunder Pain.
Closer.
Oh, come on, don't call yourself Vane. That's what other people call you, don't worry.
You hear a very faint voice coming from way up high. You not gonna get me out of here?
So Leon grabs Halliwell by the face and just pushes him off. And then stands up and starts ascending the tower.
Maybe just start with Leon and then circle around with the prompt.
Yeah, that's a fun epilogue.
Ace of Diamonds. Her death was senseless but avoidable, and the adversary is to blame. Who is it, and who were they to you?
Leon starts up the stairs, and I think early on in the journey, yeah, when they were just getting out of Ernette, and they had just gotten Queen Blythe, there was a mercenary team with like a tracker and all that. And Leon and the captain of this mercenary team really got along. I think that they were two hardcore, tough fighting, sword fighting, like just guys being dudes, couple of stalwart, loyal bros. And they just hit it off real well. And they had a great time sitting up and not drinking and just like hanging out, talking about how much things are really important to them. And I think what happened to this mercenary captain was there was a split ambush, basically. Like the Mirage set up an ambush, the mercenaries pursued the ambushers, and the team got split up, and then the Mirage orchestrated the ambush to reunite all of them, and then the mercenaries in the confusion ended up fighting each other, and this mercenary captain caught an arrow in the neck before everyone figured out what was going on. And Leon and the party, when they caught up, like, I see Blythe over here, like, waving, like, yeah, I shot him. I don't think it was Blythe. And I think when Leon and the others sort of caught up, Leon was like, oh, shit. And then eventually realized that this mercenary troop is a liability, and it's just gonna be worse. So they kept the tracker enough to get them a little ways further, but he dismissed the rest of the company to go bury their dead and take care of their captain, inter him where he needs to go. He felt very jaded after that. Up until that point, he was very confident, he was very bold, and after that, he's like, wow, this is going to be the worst experience of my life. And he was right.
And for Blythe.
Yeah.
Family has a saying for situations like this. What is the saying, and which member of your family coined it first?
Oh, for situations like this specifically.
After a duck quacks so big that it disintegrates a dragon.
Dragon question mark.
Dragon question mark. She could have been anything. We didn't figure it out. Apparently, Leon knows.
Leon was part of her story. Y'all never bothered. Well, yeah, you didn't really bother to ask.
There wasn't time to ask. We only got one turn. We rocked her shit.
Damn, it's like 2 of the game's creators are here and know how to play well. I don't know.
I didn't know that the duck was going to be that busted.
Yes, you did.
As soon as you used the duck, I was like, oh, I know exactly how to make this busted.
My family has a saying for situations just like this. Make them work for you. And when Blythe heard that the neighboring queen was kidnapped, oh, sick. I get to be a hero. I get to go on a quest that's dangerous and harrowing, and I'll probably succeed just fine because I'm the best at what I do, obviously. So there's no danger there. And I get to come back and have a story, and I'll make it look great to my people. And the neighboring country owe a debt to me. Perfect. And hey, if I can make this Mirage version work for me in the end too. I might be able to pull that off. I doubt it, but that'd be a bonus.
I mean, that's technically not how this game works, but you could have asked.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have. There's a different alt that we could have taken that would have let us do something more along those lines.
Yeah.
That would be the darkest timeline, though. To have the Mirage working for Blythe, that would be bad.
Yeah. Blythe definitely thinks that was too easy and Emidale's alive. Because we know she's an illusionist. So Blythe is pretty certain she's alive. And that was just some magic bullshit that just happened.
Still have a lot you don't know about her.
Yeah. So Blythe does intend of learning more about her when she gets home and just like, hey, maybe I'll do something with it later. I don't know. And I get my scroll back.
I kind of need that. So, for our captain, someone you trusted was with the Adversary from the start and played you for a fool. When did you suspect? Who did you try to tell? And why wouldn't they listen to you?
Captain Halliwell is not simply a captain, but I imagine a part of a small group of captains in the area of Shamir, and has certainly played off like, oh, just a sellsword and I'm here, but is very much intending to be here as much more of a, hi, I'm part of an organization who's making a move here, but didn't realize that the other founder of this organization, so like it was Captain Halliwell and then this other captain, this admiral, had multiple ships, not just Halliwell's one, had been bankrolling and assisting the Mirage the whole time, and they both made these schemes parallel to each other. Like Halliwell's like, oh, this situation is perfect, I can use this to get us what we've been trying to do this whole time, and the admiral was like, oh no, don't worry, I already set up this whole situation so that these kingdoms are super weak and divided, and all of a sudden this queen's gonna be off doing whatever. I mean, it's just more dramatic if part of that end of second act thing was Halliwell and the admiral had like a massive duel and they both left with something lost. So I'm gonna say that Captain Halliwell gave the admiral like a gnarly scar, but they like took a really important magical item from the captain.
Magic compass, magic compass, magic compass. Sorry.
I have him. He already had a magic pocket watch, but so I imagine he had a really fancy like magic cloak.
Oh, yeah, one thing in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like Admiral Jack Sparrow.
So, yeah,
Admiral Handsome Jack.
The situation with Admiral Jack isn't resolved.
Oh, no, it was a joke. No.
It was to say what their honorific is.
True.
Maybe we'll leave that for individuals in the Game Movement Discord. But
the incredibly attractive crow.
So, yeah.
Quick question, Rob. What would Henbit have made for you from the vine?
A squirrel.
Captain Halliwell would actually have looked like probably surprised and a little like shocked at the offer, and would have been like, oh, kind of just gestures to him, so I don't need anything. But, you know, Lucky has been without any kind of accessory for so long. I think that truly it'd be a shame.
Did you get a pirate hat for your pocket squirrel?
I don't know, what did Henbit
Yes,
make Lucky the
absolutely.
squirrel?
Yes!
Made a hat out of the vine remains, and also, just to kind of complete the circle fully, adorned it with bits of the vine that had been carved into feathers. And so she made a similar feather for you and one for herself that she wore, I think, tied into her hair with a matching string to the one that she made for Blythe, so that we all had those connections. So
Precious.
Incredible.
And change the tone a bit. We have a problem for Henbit.
Mhm.
Started the journey with a deep fear. That fear is gone now. What were you afraid of? How did you overcome it?
I left the castle with the fear that I would be consumed by the courts. That the luxury that I had found being with Irene, being Irene's pet curiosity, would keep me away from the world. And that being among so many truly vile and careless people would make me cruel and callous and leave me jaded and take away the hopefulness and the life that the Verdreen have and they share amongst themselves. And I'll be goddamned if I didn't go out on this journey with somebody who also, to an extent, in a way that I recognized was valorous, if I didn't necessarily think was good. When Leon and I left together, I thought, okay, maybe there's some good here. Maybe there's something that's salvageable. Maybe there's something that's worthwhile. And so that fear lessened, and then we met fucking Blythe. There was something that I promised to do. I promised to Leon that I would be with him until the end of this. And there was somebody who had been taken against their will that needed rescue. And we've done that. And I'm not afraid that I'm going to be consumed by the courts anymore, because I've seen enough of what power is and what power does that I'm going to consume the courts back. So when you come back down from the tower with Irene, lying on the floor, you find a wooden bracer with a piece of vine grafted into it. You find a small woven feather tied with what looks like a piece of bowstring, and nothing else. Because I don't need you anymore. I don't need any of you. I can make it home on my own. I'm not afraid anymore.
I pictured that the second Leon gets up to the top of the stairs, she's like, I always knew you'd come for me. Can you help me get these off? Holds up the shackles.
Yes, of course, madam. Are you well? It's been a while.
I've been better, but she took care of me all right. It's not been the most entertaining of 2 years, but it's certainly been educational. Normally I'd be able to get these off, but haven't found a new way to do that yet. She keeps taking all the sharp objects away.
He just grasps the chains in his big, strong hands and just bends them until they snap off. We'll have to see a locksmith for the rest of them, madam.
I can deal with this. I was able to do this that one time. They were kind of rusty. And on the way down, she just details various different escape attempts. She never made it very far, but she did break out several times.
I think Blythe lets all of you pass, and for a split second when no one's looking, lines up a shot at Irene's heart, but then puts the arrow down.
I picture like that's around when she registers that she just walked past you, and she's like, oh, Blythe, it's wonderful to see that you're all right. I thought you might have been dead. And who are you? Also, where's Hen?
I want to actually real quick flashback to a scene between the captain and Blythe.
Uh-huh.
I think this is pretty late into the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gotten to know each other pretty well, at least well enough. Hey, Your Highness.
Captain.
Look at us. A couple of folks with titles. Speaking of, now, listen, it's been tough for a lot of folks since the river dammed up. Now, I'm not a person that knows about what caused that. A person that knows the effects that had on the people in, well, we call it, the local area I came from, call it the Stormtooth. It's kind of shit. People we don't get along that well. And, well, after Queen with maybe not the strongest grip on rulership and a drought and a drying up river. I mean, it's like we run the place ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not. I mean, look at me. Am I king material? No way! But you know what I like the sound of? Baron. And takes out like a scroll. Now, if two sovereign rulers were, for instance, to acknowledge the fact that myself and my associates were in charge of this bit of Shalmir territory, we could certainly help you out. It seems like you've got a lot of issues, and I pride myself on being a problem solver. What do you think?
I think you overestimate your value. But I like the conflict. If you manage to survive, we'll talk.
Just like a rakish smile. And we can cut back. Your Majesty, a humble servant, Captain Halliwell, at your
Don't
service.
trust him, madam.
Trust? What's there not to trust? In fact, Your Majesty, I come here not only to help free you, but to free you of some of the most difficult parts of your rule in recent years. It truly, my heart, and the heart of people with whom I represent, go out to you. These past 2 years and the years before with the drought and all these unfortunate happenings, it must truly be difficult.
Madam, this is how he gets free drinks at every bar.
That is true. I do drink for free a lot.
I had a thing that I was just going to hint at the end, but with the way you're going on about this, Irene just kind of reaches and grabs Leon's hand. It almost looks kind of like a comforting gesture. I've learned quite a lot in the past 2 years, and I think we can take care of ourselves. There's a whirl of magic and smoke, and she and Leon disappear. Just all magic, but...
Fucking rude.
Turning to Blythe and saying, I don't think we were done with that conversation. Do you think you were done with talking to her?
I can find her again later.
I like that. Let's do that.
Now, I think I need a guide home. She's gonna pull her bow and say, "What do you say, Baron?" and points it at you. And I think that's where I wanted to end.
As we smash cut from Blythe about to make a new friend the only way she knows how, apparently. We see Irene and Leon appearing in Irene's chambers, and Irene looks around. That actually looks better than I thought it would. I thought we were just gonna end up outside.
Madam, what exactly did you pick up over the last 2 years?
Up a few things when she thought I wasn't paying attention. It definitely helps. She thought I was a helpless princess.
Final question. Why did you leave Queen Blythe behind?
I wasn't sure I could do it with more than one person.
Madam,
I thought it was just going to take me outside. I'm sorry.
Madam, I will draft a letter of apology. We will settle the affair. Now, if you would get some rest, I will let the attendants know that you will be dining soon.
And we have a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do. By your leave. And Leon, still kind of charred and fucked up, resumes his usual, like, Blade Warden sort of butler attendant posture and gingerly walks out the door to go back to go about his duties as if he hadn't just gone on a 2-year-long journey.
Irene shouts after him, Leon, I swear if you don't take at least an hour to get yourself cleaned up and take an hour to yourself, please. Just do it for me.
Dinner will be ready in an hour, madam. Yes. Understood. Slam.
That's not what I meant. The last thing we see is Irene turning back to her desk and she pulls the book out of her pocket that she stole. And there's a name inscribed on the inside. Dorialina. That is the last thing we see.
Thank you for listening to Game Oven. Please give us a follow on Twitter at Game Oven, join the Discord, support the Patreon, and consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. This week's episode featured Benjamin, who you can find at TT Benjamin, Sad, who you can find at Zadkiel and Green, Rob, who you can find at Rob B. Rolling, and Lex Holden, who you can find at Call Me They. And me, Brianna Jean, who you can find at Brianna Jeans.